So an ongoing conversation ever since the NBA Finals ended is the future of the Boston Celtics and exactly how dominant can this team be? Is this a future dynasty, or are we just overreacting once again? And they are just going to be another team that wins in the parity era, and next season we'll be crowning a new champion. We got Gil's Arena over here talking about this exact topic. I also wanted to bring up this clip from Boston Radio that was uploaded yesterday as well. People are getting ahead of themselves with the Celtics. These fucking bozos again, y'all. But let's get it going, man, because this is an interesting conversation.
So Brown had the richest extension. Tatum about to surpass him this summer.
We got that.
We got that.
And then Luka gonna pass that. We got that.
How long?
We got it.
Okay, but is everybody has their time to shine, Gil, let them live it up for the time being. How long is the Celtics championship window?
You pay Luka more? Yeah, Tatum?
It's gonna keep going. Cap gonna keep going.
Cap gonna go. Does it automatic?
Yeah, I don't think it's a matter of do you pay Luka more than Tatum. I think it's a cap issue, and also the supermax conversation is always relative to the franchise and the likelihood of them getting another superstar caliber player. But yeah.
Exactly. How long is their window? From the style they play, I personally can't see them going back to back.
You can't?
From the style they play, I mean, you're talking about they play 5 out and just whoever gets it, just chuck a 3.
What's going to change, though?
Huh?
What's going to change?
Let me say this. I think, me personally, I can see them going back to back. They are going to be a championship contender next season. I mean, obviously, now that the ball has gone through the net, for lack of a better term, like I know they can get it done on the biggest stage now. But I am still a believer that we are in the parity era. There has been a new champion every single year for the last 6 years. Even this season in the playoffs, we talked about, if this team made it to the finals, who would have won? If this team was healthy, who would have won? There is an alternate timeline this season where the champions might have been a completely different team. You know what I'm saying? Other teams are getting better next season. There are teams that aren't contenders this season that are going to be contenders for a very long time. I'm looking at the San Antonio Spurs when I say that, depending on the moves that they can make this offseason or even in the next offseason. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, though. It's going to be interesting.
It's going to change. It will take like a KD thing to the Warriors for them to change. To beat them, I think.
Kid, but you always point out, so we talked about the Nuggets last year. Mm-hmm. Returned most of that core this season. Did not get past the second round. Mm-hmm. Seems like the Celtics are going to roll with this squad because they won a chip, but teams are always getting better. Bucks should be healthier next season. Embiid, hopefully, he won't be as janky next year.
Embiid gonna have to prove me wrong when it comes to the injury shit, bro. Like I said, every single season, I'm just going into it now. Joel Embiid's gonna get injured at some point. As unfortunate and as sad as that sounds, that shouldn't be the case, bro. And Giannis, if Giannis gets injured in the playoffs for another season, we gonna have some really, really uncomfortable conversations with Giannis's injury problems, man. At some point, you're headed towards that Kawhi Leonard, Joel Embiid tier of, bro, you injured every year though? Every year?
So the East is still going to be competitive. Pacers should get better. Magic will get better.
I mean, they're going to run. I know they're going to run through they're going to run through the East.
Knicks, good.
Knicks will get better.
I mean, Boston's going to run through the East. That's just how the style. Because
I don't know, it's different.
You know why? Because
Milwaukee going to be better.
No, the style they play. Think about regular season. The style they play. Run up, chuck it. There's no real load up. So sitting there shooting, even with this, they shot so many threes. They never had an actual great shooting percentage from 3, right? They take in more.
Look at Rashad. Also, all these guys wearing Celtics merch just looks off. I can't lie. I think Gil does bring up an interesting point, and that is a counterpoint to a lot of the Celtics dynasty doubters is the fact that if you look at this playoff run, even with the injuries that they faced, this team wasn't really functioning as high and as well as it should be. Like, if we go to the 2024 NBA playoffs, okay, that didn't work. Guess I got to do this. 2024 NBA, and I go to playoff summary. The Boston Celtics were not. They led the playoffs in attempts, but in terms of percentage, they were not like as elite as a lot of y'all think. 36%. And then in terms of 3-point maze, they're probably up there because of the sheer amount of volume that they take. But in terms of 3-point percentage, you know, when a majority of them threes are coming from Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum in the playoffs did not shoot well at all from three. He shot 28% on 7 threes. So out of those 43, 7 of them are coming from Jaylen Brown. Let's see. Jaylen Brown accounted for 6 of those, and he was shooting 33%. You know, Porzingis he was shooting 34, 35%. And even like Peyton Pritchard, I don't know how he shot 30% for the whole playoffs, but all I know is that last round he was straight cheeks. I can't lie. But yeah, when you look at the Celtics team, they played a majority of these playoffs without Kristaps Porzingis. As much credit as I want to give them, I don't even think we saw. We didn't see a great Jason Tatum playoff performance. And Jaylen Brown, he wasn't like this uber dominant force in the finals either. So you can, you know, there is the argument to be made of if they won the championship in this fashion, with JT not really teeing up, with JB not being dominant, and with Kristaps Porzingis not being healthy for a majority of this run, if not all of this run, what happens when motherfuckers start teeing up? Because I am a believer that Jason Tatum's playoff performance, this is probably, I don't want to box score too much, but just in terms of his scoring ability, this is probably the worst out of the last 3 years. I think last season he shot 46% from the field, you know, was averaging 27 points a game. The season prior he was averaging 26. Field goal percentage wasn't there, but at the very least the 3-ball was falling at like 40% on 8 threes. You know what I'm saying? I do think this season he's making faster reads. He's processing things faster. His playmaking has taken a leap. He's become a more valuable screener. All of these things. He doesn't have the same turnover problem that he had 2 years ago. But again, in another offseason of improvement from a 25, 26-year-old, you know, there is still room for him to grow as a player. Hell, even same thing with JB. There is still room for him to grow as a player. Like, it will be interesting how this team is going to play next season if/when, you know, JT tees it up in the playoffs. Or do you just concede that, hey, JT just doesn't tee it up in the playoffs too? So that's the interesting conversation when it comes to the squad.
More than half of their shot is coming from the 3-point line, right? And you're up 20, and then you're down, you're up by 2. Like, the swings were so crazy in a sense where they let you back in the game because they settle a lot, right? They settle a lot. So,
Tatum, for sure.
Yeah, facts.
Man.
Like, I mean, there were just flaws in the game that I just didn't see. Right? You have a mismatch. You have a mismatch guy on you, and you're taking a sidestep 3.
Oh my God!
Right? Like both. Like you guys have the biggest and most athletic group.
Shit like that.
Did y'all see the clip of Porzingis clowning Tatum?
Brown
They all do it. They all do it.
Brown took a long ass.
I see you trolling. You like to troll.
I like that. You like the troll. No, so I hate you. I fucking hate you. No, so I don't.
One thing with JT's shot selection that I would like to revisit if I have the time this offseason, which I probably might, is just how much of them were like heat checks. The Boston Celtics are already up. Let me just throw this bomb dagger ass bucket. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like when JT needs to make the right play, when JT needs to drive to the basket, when JT needs to not settle, I think for a lot of these playoffs he didn't. But I felt like a lot of his misses was, all right, Drew just scored. Now we up by 6. Derek White just hit a 3. Now we up by 9. Oh, I know if we get another bucket right here, they're going to call a timeout. JT, sidestep 3. And he just bricked it every single fucking time. I would like to see that, because if that's the case, I just don't think like that's necessarily like, that's not a shot costing them the game, if that makes sense. To me. That just isn't.
Because they listen to you.
Yeah,
They listen to you. So I can't even do nothing about that. I'm like, I'm hearing you. I hate you.
So I see if they can understand their flaws and clean them up, right? Clean them up next year. Like Tatum really has to work on learning how to drive and jump off his one. He's not a 2-foot. Brown is a 2-foot jumper, right? So when Brown goes in, he can power up. Jason Tatum loses his power trying to jump off 2 feet, right? So he needs to learn how to drive and take off. Both of them, like for the most part, there's nobody back there. Yeah, he jumps either on one. But there's no way that you guys should be settling as much as you do when you're so athletic, and the fact that you play 5 out. Al Horford is in the corner. Meaning the people that's down there to challenge your shot, they're not athletic enough to really like affect you. So y'all,
I'm gonna be honest, man. I think JT specifically, he's in this crossroads of very skilled player, definitely athletically gifted, but I think his game would be much more effective if he either cut down on the weight so he can be much more agile offensively. And maybe get a shot back, because I do know a decent amount of people making the argument that him having more muscle is the reason why his shot got fucked up. Or, which honestly is the route that I want him to take at this point, bulk up even more. Bulk up even more. I would love to see JT not be on some Bron shit in terms of, I'm not expecting Bron level production from him, but I would love for him to build more muscle so that he can be much more stable at the 4, even going up against bigger guys, and being a much more aggressive and a much more impressive rim presence, rim attacker. You know what I'm saying? Like, if JT next season can be like an elite finisher at the rim, provide insane rim pressure, and continue on building on his playmaking advantages and his playmaking improvement, bro, I feel like JT could be crazy. Because this is now the second finals in a row where JT, even though, again, the scoring just hasn't caught up, he has shown me a level of, like, playmaking that I just didn't expect from Jason Tatum. Like, he, again, even in these playoffs, even in the first finals, again, shot poorly from the field. Shot 46% from 3, though. Horrible from the line. I don't know what the fuck happened to his free throws this series, but like 7 assists, I didn't think that was in JT's bag for real. I understand turnovers was a problem for him, but again, to go back to the finals 2 years later and build on that playmaking, making faster reads, still being the team's best rebounder, still being one of the team's best screeners, and best help side defenders. I would love for him to actually build more muscle and go to Bron route, bro. I can't lie. Instead of going like the Paul George, Kobe route, go to Bron Giannis route, low key. But like, be a better playmaker and passer than Giannis.
Y'all can get so many layups, and if you guys attack more, you don't have to take 28 footers, right? There's no way you should be taking a jumper on Kibbles. There's no way on this green guy, whoever Keebler is guarding, you settle for a 3-pointer.
Keebler.
Would we be saying this though if he made it? If he made the shots? Because one of the marquee plays of these playoff runs was when Luka had Gobert out in the perimeter, and Luka went ha 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 ha, step back 3. I've seen it before. The step back 3 is, bro, the side step 3 in 2020 from JT, that shit was elite. I've seen it before. You know what I'm saying? And again, going into these last couple playoff runs from JT, It wasn't too long. Like, it was 2 years ago when he was shooting 39%, 38%, 37%. So if I'm JT, in the moment, there still hasn't been a big sample size for me to say, all right, man, the side step 3 just ain't me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to still keep shooting my shot diet the way I'm used to. And again, the shot just wasn't falling. So I just don't think we've been complaining if he was hitting these shots. I think the problem is he wasn't. And he still kept on shooting them. But that, like, the side step 3 is in JT's bag, though. I will say that.
He finally took it to the
That's his
hole.
name now.
As soon as you see him, you should be like, oh yeah, meet me at
That's
the
when
rim.
I knew it was gonna win when he took him to the hole.
Finally, I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say this. I think the window's closed. I think they did exactly what they were supposed to do. The time is given.
Oh, the window is
For Boston?
over.
Oh, yeah. They
said
got
it's over?
Yeah. They got in, they got out. They got what they're supposed to do. That's why it was so imperative for Jason Tatum to get what he was going to get this particular series. He was supposed to solidify his legacy now because the window for you to try to get this shit again with the teams just loading up, like we said earlier in the show, do we discredit them making it all the way this way because of the injuries? And we said, no, you don't discredit them. You give them credit because this is how it lined up, right?
Yeah, but still best team in the NBA regardless of...
Of course. So now when everybody lines back up and they all healthy, can they do this shit again?
Yes.
I actually agree with Rashad, bro. And this is why, to me, like, not winning this year would have been so crazy for the Celtics because so many things lined up their way that it's like, bro, if you can't get it done in this season, bro, you just might not be built for this. Nah, deadass. Like, we're talking about in the Eastern Conference, going into the season, it was supposed to be Boston, Milwaukee, and everyone else. By All-Star break, the Milwaukee Bucks look like one of the most dysfunctional teams in the league. And then even in the playoffs, with the new coach where they were relatively playing better to some people, Dame and Giannis get injured. You know what I'm saying? And then the rest of the East gets injured as well. You know? I am one of the dudes that do believe that we had an easy path to the finals, but that still shouldn't take away from the championship. But nevertheless, you get to the NBA Finals, and I'm going to keep it a whole stack. You didn't face a team that a lot of people thought was going to beat you in the finals in the Denver Nuggets. The Minnesota Timberwolves took care of that business for you. You know what I'm saying? And then when everyone thought Minnesota was going to win a championship, Dallas took them out. And then we faced Dallas in the finals. Now, I will say this. I feel like a lot of people just was living in the moment in terms of how much they really thought Dallas could push the Boston Celtics. I've always been a Celtics in 5 guy, maybe 6 at most. But I think Dallas was the favorable matchup. I think going into these playoffs, if we said we was going to face the Dallas Mavericks in the finals, that would have been, oh shit, this might be actually the year we win. Because for a team that has a lot of perimeter defenders and the only weakness they have on defense, or the main weakness they have on defense, is interior presence, going up against a team where their 2 best players are perimeter players, and they don't have this dominant paint presence like a AD, like an Embiid, like a LeBron, like a Giannis, that's the favorable matchup. And also, we have sample sizes of the regular season as to how the Celtics play against the Dallas Mavericks, and that also holds up in this argument. Even historically, how we played against Kyrie. Even historically, how we just play against the Mavericks over these last 3 years. Like, the sample size was just there, man. So
that's the question.
They did that during the regular season.
For me, looking at how they played and how inconsistent throughout the whole time, it ain't gonna happen.
Pressure ain't there no more. I feel like I think they gon'.
That's the only thing. I don't think there's a team in the East that's gonna
Yeah, I'm about to say
there's
ain't no
team
pressure on them now. Now they just balling.
PG go to Philly.
That changes it.
That's why I said it. Cause some KD shit had. Did I say that?
Well, the reason
I disagree with the East is weak argument too. I think the East is a good conference. It's not better than the West, but it's a good conference. It was weak in these playoffs because of injuries, but if everyone was healthy, if the Cavs were healthy throughout this whole season, if the Bucks were healthy throughout this whole season, if Embiid and the Sixers were healthy throughout this whole season, I think that the East, looks much better. The Knicks. If the Knicks were healthy throughout the playoffs and throughout this whole season, the East looks much better than what it is. And like I said, that's why I've been pushing back so much on the Celtics are a super team argument. I do not think, as much as I love this team, this is not a juggernaut-ass, unbeatable-ass team, bro. Like, this team still has weaknesses, and I do think if there is a level of fortunate luck that the Celtics have had in these playoffs alongside playing against injured opponents, it's the fact that they didn't play against a dominant big man in these playoffs whatsoever. The most dominant big man that they played was who? Not even a big, like Pascal Siakam, Bam Adebayo, Evan Mobley. You know what I'm saying? Like, respect to them, all-star level players. But there's a difference between them and the Giannis's and the Embiids of the world, bro. I'm sorry.
I'm not making my takes of keeping all the teams the same on the East, bro. They're gonna have to make changes.
But
we have the changes that's being made. I'm saying that window that was open this year is the only opening Boston Celtics gonna have
a little bit.
At least the next 5 years.
But we don't know. I feel like they still gotta. They probably need to get. They still need some more pieces because they're getting older too. Like Horford, they need somebody for Horford. That's hard to fill in. Somebody that could shoot a three and.
That's what I said. If they win a championship and then add another good piece, it keeps their window open. Yeah. But if they
Brook Lopez, I heard Mr. Lopez might be out in Milwaukee. Yo, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I might have to concede to the super team arguments if we get Brook Lopez. I know that's a crazy statement to make, bro. But boy, if the main weakness the Celtics got gets fixed by adding Brook Lopez, ooh.
But usually, just like champions, they keep the fucking same team.
That's what I was just about to say. Every championship team that was paper champs never improved their roster, so they came back and they fell short the next year.
But it seems like Brad Stevens, intelligent dude, they're gonna have guys that'll be willing to come on a discount.
I'm not mad at what Brad Stevens has done.
He's already made tough decisions, so it ain't like he might not be like, all right.
Okay, so the window of winning the championship, I can say within the next, 25 and 26 and 27 right now, and the next, as long as they stay together, in the next 4 years, they can possibly get another.
It wouldn't even be close if KP was healthy. We didn't even see the best team. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that Nick Young's argument is what a lot of Celtics fans are thinking in terms of this possibly being a dynasty. Like, bro, these motherfuckers didn't even play at their best. I forgot to bring it up earlier because I was just talking about the playoffs as a whole. But in these finals, I'm going to keep it a whole stack, bro. Like, the Celtics were not a great three-point shooting team in the finals. They just weren't. They shot 34% in the finals from three. They shot 44% from the field in these finals. I truly think in these finals, the main differentiating factor was the defense. It was the defense they played on the Dallas Mavericks. That was it. It wasn't because their offense looked all-time great. It wasn't because they had this player that was just playing at, all-time great standards. It was because on defense they locked the fuck up. But we also know this is a great two-way team. So if we run it back next year, are we gonna? Are you willing to bet on the fact that the Celtics are gonna have another finals? Or no, well, that'd be jumping the gun like crazy. But if we do get to this point, are we betting on the Celtics having another series where they shoot 44% and 34% from the field and three respectively? Like, that's a crazy bet that I would not be making. I would actually bet that they play better next season.
Man, he was out there dragging that foot.
Not throughout the year.
But
that's why they swept throughout the year.
That's what I'm saying. Before he got hurt, they was still playing like, man, we don't know which team gonna show up.
No, because he got hurt in the first round.
I'm saying before that, bro, leading up.
If they had the same team they won 64 games with.
Inconsistent, bro. Porzingis was inconsistent. He was inconsistent. The only two guys that was consistent was Jalen and Tatum. I mean, Jalen and Tatum, they was very consistent.
But the thing, now when you think about it, when you compare it to every other team,
they got four people that could do something. Five.
Their third, fourth, and fifth option
is better than everybody.
They're literally better than everybody else's three.
Yeah.
Who can be, like, I'm trying to figure out who's.
Name them. Who you taking as a fourth option? I'm taking Drew Holiday or anybody or Porzingis.
Because you got to see the reason why the third.
He probably the fifth option.
The reason why the third, fourth, and fifth option on their team is good is because of the system that they run that allows them to hit them shots. Them are not shot-making, shot-creator type guys. These are guys who are going to hit shots when they need.
But as a fourth, fifth option, yeah, they are. How many fourth or fifth options can create the way Derek White and Drew Holiday can, bro? Like, hell, even Peyton Pritchard, as a sixth option, can create the way he creates.
Need to hit shots. You think about the Clippers. Norm Powell can hit shots. Bowen Holland. Certain guys can hit shots when they need to hit shots. But other teams don't have the system set up for two guys that just go out here and do their thing and get you open shots.
That's every team.
No, not with two stars.
The Clippers.
No, because Porzingis averaged 20 and 10 last year.
Porzingis is.
Didn't he
I
average
think
19 and
19.
In DC?
Like that.
Yeah.
No, in DC, last year was DC or this year?
Yeah, last season.
Before
the trade, yeah. So before the trade, last season he averaged 23.
Yeah.
23 and 8. Yeah, 23 and 8.
How much he averaged this year though?
20. So he averaged 23 and 8. So there's nobody as a third. That's
a third option.
He's a third option.
Averaging 20.
20. This year he averaged 20. Last year he averaged 23 and 8. This year he averaged 20 and 7.
And Drew was like 13, 12 or 13 a game. White was at.
Let me say this to close it out because I think they are ending on this. At least for this. We're also gonna watch this segment right here, just briefly. I think in terms of this Celtics team potentially being a dynasty, again, I hold the word dynasty to really high standards. We had this discussion on the pod of, hey man, maybe we should redefine what a dynasty is in 2024. I don't think we need to do that, bro. I think a dynasty is what it is, and we just live in a time where it's just unlikely for a dynasty to happen, or it's just harder for dynasties to happen, or both. You know what I'm saying? And for me, a dynasty is rattling off like 3 rings in a 5-year time span, or, you know, ratting off 4 rings in an 8-9 year time span, being a contender every single year. I think the Boston Celtics do have a chance to be a contender, and have been a contender already for the last 3 years already. And that is going to keep going for the next 3-4 years. I think there's a legitimate championship window there for the next 3 to 4 years. I do have more faith than a lot of y'all with Jason Tatum improving from here on out. I really do think having this championship on his belt now takes a big monkey off his back, and I've been preaching it all playoffs long. I do think he's been playing, under immense pressure with all the criticism that he's gotten. Same thing with JB, and I do think moving forward, now that they have seen the top of the mountain, they're going to play more freely. They're going to not doubt what they're doing because they know that what they've been doing has worked in the past. So I do think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have another level to achieve and to grow into. The biggest question, I think Drew Holiday, if we can lock him up for an extension, which I believe we already did, I don't think Drew Holiday is a player that for the role that we have for him is going to regress like crazy for the next couple of years. I still think Drew Holiday is going to be one of the best defenders in the league for the next 2 to 3 years. I still think he can be, we're not expecting him to create off the dribble. All we need from him is spot-up shooting, maybe a pump fake, 1 dribble to the right, 1 dribble to the left, 3 here and there, maybe 3s in transition. I think Drew Holiday is still going to be able to do that. Derek White, I hope we re-sign him. I don't want this to be a Bruce Brown situation where, we lose an integral part of the team because we didn't want to pay him, or like a James Harden situation. I don't think, Derek White is going to be James Harden, but I would hate to lose Derek White. I do think he's an important factor to this team's success, and if he does get replaced by Peyton Pritchard, we will see the difference between Derek White and Peyton Pritchard a lot. I think Kristaps Porzingis' health is a big question as well. Very, very big question. This season, historically speaking, for Kristaps is not an outlier ass season. You know what I'm saying? In a season where a lot of players are actually healthy, Kristaps Porzingis still only played 57 games. He actually played more games last season for the Wizards. Now, he was getting load managed more this season for playoff reasons, but The fact that he was going to load manage pretty heavily this season, we go into the playoffs and he still gets injured twice. That's not a good sign. That is not a good sign. But yeah, I do see this team being able to be a championship contender for the next 4 or 5 years. I do believe that by the end of this, because of the fact that we're now going back to 2022 as the start of this era, like this Tatum Brown championship contender era with them at the head of the helm, we may look back at a 5-6 year stretch where the Celtics 7-year stretch where the Celtics made it to 3 NBA finals, maybe won 2 rings. Is that enough for a dynasty to me? I don't think so. But yeah, it is going to be interesting. I don't think this is a team that is going to be the outlier, is going to be to break the mold and become the next NBA dynasty. I do think that is setting them up for like crazy slander, crazy receipts for the end of next season. But yeah, man. The next clip I want to show y'all is Felger and Maz, bro. We reacted to them a couple weeks ago when JJ Redick was on the podcast. And it's just crazy to me, like, the difference in conversations between, like, even what we just saw from Gil's Arena, and even then you can say, like, you know, X person's hating, Y person's hating. This is from Boston media. This is days after the Celtics just won a championship. And they're having the exact same conversation that Gil's Arena and you know, they're having the exact same conversation that Gil's Arena's having. But listen to the tone and listen to the difference in conversation between these two, because it's actually crazy.
Teams break up when they don't win it. OKC, to cite an example. LeBron the first time from Cleveland. Okay, so that's typically what happens, where it's not good enough where they are, so they have to go somewhere else to win. However, there are cases where that's not, and there's more and more as we go forward, where guys are leaving championship teams. Kawhi Leonard did it. LeBron James did it. Kevin Durant did it. State. Okay, so like, it's no guarantee that if you win, they're going to stay. I think that used to be the mindset.
Correct.
If the guy can win there's no reason for him to leave. And more guys leave. So Maz's point is an important one. Just winning is no longer the guarantee it used to be.
When was winning the guarantee that it used to be, though? Because even if you look at Kobe, I mean, they won their last championship in 2002. Kobe was asking out by 2005. Even if we look at the early 2010s, the Celtics won one in, well, they traded them in 2014. But let's not act like, Ray Allen wasn't in these trade rumors for a minute as well. Hell, even the 90s, weren't there rumors of, like, Jordan wanting to team up with Patrick Ewing in New York? Like, I don't know about that.
So my concerns are short-term and long. The short-term one is the cast. I think the surrounding cast is obviously excellent, but has far more margin for error than people are giving it credit for. Or far less margin for error, I guess I would say. In that, Holiday is 34, 35. Porzingis can't stay healthy. Horford, come on. How much longer can you expect that? And, I just think that Derek White, tremendous. But are they going to pay Holiday and White? Are they going to go into the second apron? That's a whole new thing. The second apron didn't exist 3 years ago. Yes, Jimmy? Did you have a thought?
I was going to
Wick did say he's gonna go into the second apron.
say Derek White needs a new contract.
He needs a new contract. So they say they're going to pay it. I think they're going to pay it. Those are big dollars. Those tax dollars, that's a lot. That's a lot of money for a team that doesn't own its own building. So you got to see how that all shakes out. The good news is Brown and Tatum, I do think, are here for a set amount of time. Because the way their Supermax contracts time out and the rules related to it. For example, Brown signed his last year, so he couldn't be traded. He can be traded starting next month, but
That ain't going to happen.
he's not going to leave after right when we're not there yet. Tatum's going to sign this year. He can't be traded for another year. They're coming off the championship. So, I think you've got a nice little 2-3 year guarantee with those two guys, which is nothing to sneeze at. So, I think that's okay. But the cast, I think that's a far bigger variable than people are giving it credit for a lot of reasons. Age, health, contract.
Yeah, you got to reinvent that. And you know, even if Tatum and Brown stay for any length of time, you're going to have to reinvent the pieces around them. It's going to have to change. They're going to be different incarnations of the same team, if that makes sense. So, like, I do have doubts about those. There's no question. Porzingis is a freaking held together with duct tape and baling wire. Like, who knows with him? And, you know, Holiday to me is like your classic candidate to be dealt to a contender. And again, you know, at the risk of like breaking up the team already. But if things go bad and you get to the trade deadline, I say go bad, meaning you have injuries, something goes wrong. Okay, and you get to the trade deadline, Holiday is precisely the kind of guy that a team is going to want. Okay, so like there will be.
Why are we talking about trading Drew Holiday? 3 days after winning a championship, why the fuck are we talking about trading? Even short term, why are we talking about trading Drew Holiday? What?
All I'm saying is there are a lot of moving pieces.
I like you've taken my facilitation one step further, and you have Holiday traded.
Right.
I got it.
No, but the point
I
is,
like it.
You're gonna have
Look at him. This motherfucker's enjoying. Like, bro, this is some. All right, man.
to replace him sooner or later anyway. Like, you know, whether it's
right,
one
he's not
year,
a long-term consideration.
Right, it's not, he's not going to be here for 5 more years, I don't think.
My biggest long-term concern, long-term now, so short-term, no guarantee those guys are healthy next year or that you even get them all under contract over the next 2, okay? Long-term, I do turn to Brown and Tatum. They're not going to finish their careers with the Celtics. Like, can we just...
At least one isn't.
Like, accept that? Like, that's, you know... Pierce did.
Again, weird conversations to have.
Garnett didn't. Like Robert Parrish didn't. Like, but most guys don't. So just like Ray Allen didn't. So just be an adult about the thing and understand that at some point they're going to leave.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay, like I can almost guarantee that. Now, do they leave at the very end when it doesn't matter? Like, okay, but I think they're much more serious flight risks. Earlier than that, Jaylen Brown has already openly, on the record, complained about the marketing that he gets. He just was doing it last month, openly, on the record, explaining about his frustrations over missing out on marketing opportunities. Now, he blamed it on his beliefs, but I think there's also a big part there that it's hard to get all those marketing dollars when you're the second best player on a team. And if he's felt that way to this point, he has already openly, on the record, spoken about the sacrifice that he's had to make playing here. He said that at the All-Star game 2 years ago. Remember that?
Of course.
So if Jaylen Brown is, I'm not.
This is just again 3 days after winning the championship, bro. We are still having conversations about, does Jaylen Brown feel appreciated here? Does he really like being Jason Tatum's wingman? 3 days after winning the championship, we are talking about these motherfuckers already leaving. What are we doing right now, bro? It's not even for basketball reasons. We're not even talking about, oh, you know, I just, you know, oh, they did talk about it. I'll give them credit, bro. But, all right. Marketing, them leaving at age 28, 29, that's what we're talking about, is what's stopping this team from being a dynasty? Can we just talk about the window that they got right now and then see, like, have those conversations once we get there?
Not making it up. I'm just telling you what he has said. He has said that playing here is a sacrifice. He has complained about the marketing opportunities here. So would anyone be surprised if in the near future he says, I can't grow my brand here the way I want to, and he looks to be somewhere else? Like, I mean, that's obviously got to be a concern. And that becomes more of a concern. I know I've said that, you know, guys leave even when they win. It's easier when you come up.
But why are you not bringing up the quotes of motherfuckers telling him, you know, how do you feel about not making all defensive team and Jaylen Brown saying I'm 2 wins away from the NBA Finals berth? I don't give a damn. Why aren't we bringing up those conversations? Why aren't we bringing up the conversations about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown being as public as possible about not caring about the other's success because they care about each other's success?
Just short. So
I fucked up that line. But long story short, they're not jealous of each other. If anything, they made it a emphasis ever since you know, they won the championship to be like, you the GOAT. No, you the GOAT. No, you the GOAT. No, you the GOAT. Like,
what if you're, you know, a team that just comes up a little short and now Jaylen Brown's not winning finals MVP and he's not being marketed the way that he should be or feels he should be? How's that? And then Jason Tatum. Like,
now, mind you, you are literally a part of the problem as to why Jaylen Brown doesn't feel like he's being marketed the way that he should be. These conversations right here are literally what he's talking about. But then when he potentially leaves because of these same problems, now you gonna call him soft and not ready for not being a winner for the city of Boston. You, sir, are literally contributing to the problem that you are talking about.
He's a Lakers fan. I mean, I don't know. I don't know his affinity for Boston, or does he have that?
So was Paul Pierce, by the way.
Boston thing? I don't know yet with him. I don't know if he's of the city and for the city and a part of it and wants to be a part of it and loves everything that it has to offer. I don't know that. He might be. I don't want to draw a conclusion on that. I do know he wears purple and gold wristbands for Celtics games. So that, I know.
And he's obsessed with Kobe, you know? There's that whole thing. It just comes down to this. Do these guys have the internal thing that they want to be great? It's difficult enough to win one championship. It's hard to win multiple. So Jordan had that. Kobe had it. Brady had it. Do they have that? I mean, I think Brown probably does. I don't know about Tatum. I still don't know.
See, I think they want to be great. I just want
to know if they want to be great here.
Well, and I also don't know if they want to be great.
They don't want to be great here? Are we fucking kidding right now, bro? After everything we've seen for them over the last couple of years, we're still questioning if Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum don't want to be great in Boston after winning a championship? Are we serious right now, bro? Are we? Yo. Literally, all they got to do is make a couple more All-NBA teams, bro. They could retire then. They could be traded then, and they are locked to be retired for the Boston Celtics. If Paul Pierce, KG, and arguably Ray Allen, maybe Rondo, can be retired for the Boston Celtics after winning one championship, what does multiple conference finals appearances, the same amount of NBA finals appearances, being drafted by the Boston Celtics and getting it done for the city that drafted you mean? What are we talking about right now, bro? What are we talking about right now?
Say this. I don't know if they want to be great winners. You know what I mean? Like, in other words, the greatness. Would you call LeBron a great winner?
No.
I would.
Oh, my God, bro. Oh, my God, bro.
Wouldn't. Okay, I wouldn't. But the persona of LeBron, the LeBron thing, is gigantic. It's huge. He's one of the most recognizable figures in the history of sports. Okay, so, I think there's a competitiveness now among athletes and people to be that. Let me make my brand bigger than anything.
I just think, and I don't mean to pee on your parade, but, everyone's talking about it.
That's Friday.
Yes, on Friday, I'm going to take a steaming leak over that parade. Thank you. Very good, Murray. I had to think what you were talking about there, the parade.
Any Boston fan that's watching this right now, bro, I swear to God, we should bring out a whole JBL fucking speaker and just, if they're at the parade, just play They Not Like Us, bro. I ain't go, bro, come, yo, they literally, if anyone sees them at the parade, they legitimately should be getting booed, bro. They, these two fucks right here should legitimately be getting booed if they show up to the parade, bro. Because these motherfuckers have never believed in this Celtics team. Even when they win it, They're still having doubts about the future. They're still discrediting their dedication to the team. And even when they did win, let me bring it up, bro, because this shit is actually pissing me off. They had this take right here. So this literally showed me before they even won that even if they won, these motherfuckers would still be bitching.
Winning like this. Let's just say they go through the whole thing winning like this. Isn't that hollow? Doesn't it feel kind of... look, the championship's a championship. The parade is the parade. But doesn't the value come in withstanding the pushback? It's supposed to be about having to fight for it. That's where the value of a championship comes.
Listen.
I mean, if you just want to win an easy championship, seriously.
What's wrong with winning an easy championship?
Well, then why don't we just have them play in the local youth competition?
It's the NBA.
Okay.
No.
Like, come on, bro. What are we doing, bro?
I don't mean to be a downer, but everyone's talking about it, so can we talk about it? I mean, or you just want to be like, yeah, here we go, Dynasty.
That was Joe Murray and Skaz last night at 7 from 7 to midnight.
Or do you want to hear some of the reasons why it might not happen, and then we can discuss? Or do you just want a green team?
Yeah, I want to do that.
I prefer to talk.
That's Joe Murray and Skaz, 7 o'clock every weeknight.
We'll give you the other side to it. I can't predict the future. I don't know how it's going to go. But I don't think it's this lock. I think there are a lot of pitfalls. I think there are a lot of things you have to overcome. Short term and long. Short term, the cast is aged. And the cast was huge, hugely important to this team. Porzingis and Holiday, just start there. Okay?
But not even having conversations about, like, how they're aging or how they would age as their skill set pertains is, like, so crazy to me. Derek White is 29. If we lock him up, what's the conversation there? Kristaps Porzingis is 28. I understand the health is the important part, but these motherfuckers are acting like this is a team where it's just Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and a bunch of 34-year-olds, bro. Like, literally, it's just Drew Holiday, who's 33, Al Horford, who's 37, and even Al Horford, I don't know how much you want to see from Al Horford to say, all right, this is just one of the dudes that's just going to be consistently a stretch big off the bench for the rest of his career. Like, Al Horford, the way that he's playing right now, he can play like this for another 2 to 3 years. I'm going to keep it a stack. Just be a backup big off the bench. You know what I'm saying? You can post him up a little bit. You know, he can block a couple shots here and there. He's going to be a decent rebounder off the bench. And his main value would be being able to stretch out the floor at an elite level, especially as a backup big. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Hey, and then, again, you got to pay all those guys. And there's new rules in the CBA. They're tough. And these are not the deepest pocketed owners to begin with. And there's only been one team that's been able to, a couple. The Warriors with all that money that they get from Asia and these incredible deals that they have in Asia, and Steve Ballmer with the Clippers. Wick is fabulously wealthy. He ain't Steve Ballmer. He doesn't even own his own building. All right, so, like, there's all that. And then there's really Brown and Tatum. I'm not even going to go to or do they want to, all concede that they're championship-driven and want to win championships. I just don't think it's going to be that easy to do it without the cast. And then if they're coming up short, or even if they're still winning, do they want to do it here long-term? Those are big questions.
Definitely. If you like that clip.
I don't like that clip. I'm actually going to dislike that clip. I ain't going to lie. Again, same conversation as Gil's Arena. It's just interesting how different the tone is. Like, so much more negative. And this is Boston media talking about this. Like, I don't know, bro. Maybe I'm tone policing too much. There is doubt when it comes to this team being a dynasty. But their reasoning and process to that, in my opinion, is just whack as fuck. It's just whack as fuck. It's not even... I don't know, bro. I feel like I'm yapping at this point. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. And I'm out, man. Peace.